All right, ready to dive into a world where uh, precision and safety really matter? The
Absolutely.
world of a nitrator operator?
Yeah.
Today, we are going to help you prepare for your interview.
Yes.
Hopefully land that job.
It's a role that really, you need some serious technical expertise
Right.
and unwavering focus. We are talking about very precise control of chemical reactions to create explosives.
Yeah, the stakes are pretty high in this one.
Yeah. So showing you understand the process, but also that you're totally committed to safety, super important.
Absolutely. We've got a whole stack of resources from RoleCatcher to kind of guide us through this.
Yeah.
They've got a career guide, an interview guide, and even information about their AI tools, all designed to give you a leg up in your job search.
Yeah, I mean, what I find fascinating about RoleCatcher is that they really use AI to analyze the job description and then help you prepare for that specific job.
Wow.
It's not just generic advice.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Yeah.
What exactly does a nitrator operator do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, according to RoleCatcher, they're responsible for managing and operating the equipment that transforms various chemicals into explosives.
Okay.
So that involves really monitoring that process, ensuring quality control at each stage,
Right.
and then meticulously overseeing the storage of these explosives. They're kept in special tanks.
It sounds like you need a lot of attention to detail
Absolutely.
and really understand the chemical process.
Oh, yeah.
But let's get to the heart of this deep dive, the interview. What kind of questions can you expect,
Yeah.
and how can you knock their socks off?
RoleCatcher gives us 10 sample questions that are common.
Okay.
And one that often pops up early is, what inspired you to pursue this career as a nitrator operator?
That seems straightforward,
It does.
but I bet there's more to it than meets the eye.
Absolutely. They're trying to gauge your actual interest.
Okay.
Have you really thought about this? Do you understand what's involved?
Right.
And do you have the drive, the passion to really excel in this environment?
So how should you approach a question like that?
Honesty, enthusiasm are key. Share what sparked your interest in chemistry in the first place.
Yeah.
Was it a specific project, a class, maybe a mentor you had?
Mm-hmm.
And then connect that to the work of a nitrator operator. Explain how your interest, in chemical reactions lines up with this job, with its emphasis on precision and control and safety.
So, for example, you could say something like, I've always been fascinated by the power of chemistry to transform substances, and I'm drawn to roles that demand meticulous attention to detail. When I learned about the work of a nitrator operator, the precise control of reactions, the critical safety protocols, and the impact this role has on industries ranging from construction to space exploration, I knew it would be a challenging and rewarding career path.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It shows your passion, right? Connecting it to those specific responsibilities of the role, and you've done your research.
Yeah.
So avoid generic answers like, oh, I'm good with my hands, or I need a job.
Right.
Make it personal. Make it about this field.
I bet they have follow-up questions.
Oh, absolutely. They might ask you to talk more about your experience with chemistry, what appeals to you specifically about the job,
Right.
or even your understanding of the nitration process itself. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really help, because it'll help you think of those follow-up questions by analyzing the job description.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a crystal ball into their minds.
Okay, let's move on to another question.
Okay.
Can you describe your experience with operating equipment used in the nitrator process?
All right, so this is where your technical knowledge comes in.
Right.
So they want to know about your hands-on experience with the actual equipment.
So it's not enough to say, I'm familiar with the equipment. You need to be specific.
Exactly, yeah. List the types of equipment: reactors, distillation columns, filtration systems.
Okay.
And describe the processes you know.
Right.
Mention your certifications, if you have any. And even if you've worked with similar equipment in other industries, highlight that too.
Huh.
Just show that you're comfortable in that technical environment.
Okay, for instance, you could say, I have 3 years of experience operating various types of chemical processing equipment, including reactors, distillation columns, and filtration systems. I'm proficient in using process control systems and have a solid understanding of the safety protocols involved in handling hazardous materials. In my previous role at a pharmaceutical company, I operated similar equipment, so I'm confident in my ability to adapt quickly to the specific requirements of this role.
Perfect. You've connected your past to the present opportunity.
Okay.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can analyze that and give feedback based on the specific job description.
Wow.
It's like a coach tailoring your answers to make a real impact.
Okay, let's tackle a question that's really important in this line of work.
Mm-hmm.
How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others when working with hazardous chemicals?
Now, this is where you show you are absolutely committed to safety. We're talking about explosives here. It's more than just following the rules.
Right.
The interviewer wants someone who embodies safety, understands the risks, and is proactive about it.
How do you convey that level of commitment in your answer?
Well, highlight your safety training, your certifications.
Okay.
Talk about specific safety protocols you've implemented in your previous schools. Don't just recite rules.
Right.
Talk about specific actions like inspecting equipment, double-checking measurements, keeping a clean work area.
Yeah.
Maybe even mention a time you spotted a hazard, and you took steps to address it, even if it wasn't your direct responsibility.
Okay, for instance, you could say, safety is non-negotiable for me, especially in an environment where we're handling explosives. I'm OSHA certified and have a proven track record of implementing and adhering to strict safety protocols. I'm meticulous about wearing appropriate PPE, following lockout-tagout procedures, and double-checking all calculations and measurements. In my previous role, I noticed a minor leak in a storage container. Even though it wasn't my assigned area, I immediately reported it, ensured the area was evacuated, and followed the proper procedures for containment and cleanup. I believe that everyone has a responsibility for safety, and I'm always willing to speak up and take action to prevent potential hazards.
That's an excellent example. You understand those protocols, but also you go above and beyond to keep the work environment safe.
Absolutely. Now, let's say the job description actually mentions specific safety challenges related to the nitration process.
Mm-hmm.
How can RoleCatcher's AI help refine my answer to address those concerns specifically?
So RoleCatcher's AI is able to analyze that and identify those specific safety concerns and suggest incorporating keywords. Oh, wow. To show you really understand those risks. For example, if they're worried about ventilation systems to prevent the buildup of fumes, the AI might say, mention your experience monitoring and maintaining those systems.
So it's about tailoring your response to show you really understand the safety issues specific to their work environment.
Precisely.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about a question that digs into your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot an issue in the nitrator process?
Oh, this is where they assess your ability to think on your feet.
Okay.
How do you approach those challenges, analyze problems, and stay calm in those high-pressure situations?
So how do you craft an answer that shows you've got that troubleshooting ability?
Well, the STAR method is great here. Situation, task, action, result.
Okay, so walk me through it.
Describe a specific situation where you ran into a problem during that process. Explain what you were doing, the actions you took to fix the problem, and then highlight that positive result you achieved.
So for example, I could say, during a routine batch production, I noticed a significant temperature fluctuation in the reactor, exceeding the acceptable parameters. I immediately halted the process, knowing this could compromise the quality and safety of the final product. I consulted the operating manual and conducted a thorough inspection of the equipment, identifying a faulty sensor as the root cause. I replaced the sensor, recalibrated the system, and carefully monitored the temperature as we resumed production. The issue was resolved, and we were able to complete the batch without any compromise to quality or safety.
Great example. You outlined the problem, the steps you took, and that successful outcome.
Awesome. And I'm guessing RoleCatcher's AI could analyze this and maybe suggest ways to make it even stronger based on the job requirements.
Yes. So, for example, if the job description really emphasizes data analysis and troubleshooting, RoleCatcher's AI might say, mention how you reviewed historical data or used statistical process control.
It's like having a personalized coach, helping me tailor my answers to really stand out.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to a question that focuses on attention to detail and commitment to quality. How do you ensure that the nitrator process meets quality control standards?
Oh, this is a big one. Precision, consistency, super important in this industry.
Yeah.
They want to see that you understand these quality control procedures.
Right.
And that you're committed to upholding those standards every step of the way.
So how can I showcase my commitment to quality in my answer?
Be specific. Talk about the actual quality control measures you've used, calibrating equipment, inspections, analyzing samples, all that.
Okay.
And mention any quality management systems, like ISO 9001.
Okay, so for example, I could say, I'm a firm believer that quality is built into every stage of the process. In my previous role, I was responsible for implementing a rigorous quality control program that included regular equipment calibration, multiple inspection points throughout the process, and detailed record keeping. I also worked closely with the lab, analyzing samples to ensure they met all required specifications. This proactive approach helped us minimize defects, reduce waste, and consistently deliver a high-quality product that met or exceeded customer expectations.
That's fantastic. You show you understand those quality control principles
Okay.
and that proactive approach to ensuring consistency.
Now, let's say the job description highlights a specific quality control challenge that they've been having.
hmm
How can RoleCatcher's AI help me address that issue head-on?
Well, RoleCatcher can analyze that description and pick out those keywords that signal their concerns.
Okay.
And it might suggest you include examples from your own experience that show you can handle those same challenges.
Right.
So, for instance, if they're worried about cross-contamination, the AI might say, talk about a time when you put a really strict cleaning protocol in place.
So it's about showing them, hey, I understand your specific challenges, and I have the skills to help you overcome them.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to a question that gets at your potential for leadership. Can you describe your experience with managing and training junior staff members?
Now, even if you haven't been a manager officially, this question is about your leadership potential,
Okay.
your ability to mentor others and create a positive team environment.
So how do you showcase those skills even without that formal management title?
Well, think about times when you took the lead. Maybe you trained a new colleague on a specific process, or you mentored someone who was struggling.
Right.
Use those experiences to show you can guide others, communicate well, and foster that team spirit.
For example, you could say, well, I haven't held a formal management title. I've always enjoyed helping colleagues learn and grow. In my previous role, I took the initiative to train new hires on the operation of our equipment. I developed a step-by-step training program that included both theoretical and practical components. I made sure to provide ongoing support and feedback to ensure they were confident and competent in their roles. I also mentored a junior colleague who was having difficulty with a specific process. We worked together to break down the problem, identify solutions, and develop a more effective approach. Seeing them succeed was incredibly rewarding, and it reinforced my belief in the power of mentorship and teamwork.
You've shown those leadership qualities and your passion for helping others succeed.
Yeah.
You're not just focused on yourself, it's about the team's success too.
Absolutely. Now, if the job description really stresses the importance of teamwork and collaboration, how can RoleCatcher's AI help me make sure I'm emphasizing those qualities?
RoleCatcher's AI might suggest adding examples of how you've collaborated well, sharing knowledge, supporting others, working towards shared goals. It could even recommend mentioning your communication skills, active listening, how you resolve conflicts.
So it's about showing them, look, I can lead, but I'm also a team player.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about a question that gets at the business side of things.
Okay.
How do you ensure that the nitrator process is efficient and cost-effective?
All right, so it's not just about running the equipment. They want to know you understand the big picture, using resources wisely, minimizing waste, and helping the company's bottom line.
So how do I impress them with my answer here?
Focus on your track record of actually improving efficiency and cutting costs.
So,
Maybe you optimized production schedules, found ways to streamline operations, reduced waste.
yeah.
Use examples to illustrate your impact. And whenever possible, quantify your achievements.
Okay, for example, I could say, I'm always looking for ways to optimize processes and improve efficiency. In my previous role, I noticed that our material handling process was inefficient, leading to delays and wasted time. I proposed implementing a new automated conveyor system, which would reduce manual labor, improve safety, and speed up the process. After conducting a thorough cost-benefit analysis and securing management approval, I oversaw the installation and implementation of the new system. This resulted in a 20% reduction in material handling time, a 10% decrease in labor costs, and a significant improvement in workplace safety.
Perfect. You've actually quantified those achievements.
Yeah.
You've shown your impact on the company's efficiency and profitability.
And I'm assuming, again, RoleCatcher's AI could step in, maybe suggest some tweaks based on the job description.
Absolutely. If they mention reducing energy consumption, for example, the AI might suggest, mention a time you did a process optimization that lowered energy use.
It's all about tailoring it to what they're looking for.
Precisely.
Okay, let's tackle a question that lets you show off your technical expertise. Can you describe your experience with troubleshooting complex issues in the nitrator process?
So this is about showing you can handle the tough stuff.
Right.
Those problems that need deep knowledge, critical thinking, and creativity.
Okay, so how do I blow them away with my answer here?
Choose an example that shows you can diagnose and solve something complex, something that needed in-depth knowledge of the process.
Okay.
Clearly explain the problem, the steps you took to investigate, the solution,
Okay.
and highlight your technical skills and knowledge that you used.
For example, I could say, in my previous role, we encountered a recurring issue with inconsistent product quality. The problem was subtle and intermittent, making it difficult to pinpoint. I conducted a thorough investigation, reviewing batch records, analyzing production data, and conducting numerous tests. I eventually discovered that the problem stemmed from a slight variation in the raw material composition. I worked closely with the supplier, providing them with detailed data analysis and collaborating on a more stringent quality control process for incoming materials. This resulted in a significant improvement in product consistency, reducing the number of defective batches and ensuring we met our quality standards.
Yeah, great example. You analyzed a complex problem, investigated thoroughly, found solutions, and made things better.
Now, what if the job description mentions some really specific technical challenges they've been facing?
Yeah.
How can RoleCatcher's AI help me fine-tune my response to address those directly?
So the AI can analyze that job description and find those keywords that signal their specific pain points.
Okay.
It might suggest you use examples from your experience that are similar. For example, if they mention problems with temperature control in the reactor, the AI might suggest you talk about a time you fixed a similar issue.
So I can show them, hey, I can solve problems. And specifically, I can solve the kind of problems you're having.
Exactly. You're ready to contribute on day one.
Okay, let's move on to a question that assesses your proactive approach to continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Can you describe your experience with developing and implementing process improvements in the nitrator process?
Now, they're not looking for someone who's just happy with how things are.
Right.
They want someone who's always trying to make things better, safer, more efficient.
So how do I really stand out with my answer to this one?
Well, give specific examples of process improvements you've actually implemented. Streamlining workflows, upgrading equipment, new safety protocols, anything like that.
Yep.
Explain why you made the improvement, how you did it, and the positive impact it had.
So for example, I could say, I'm a firm believer in continuous improvement. I'm always looking for ways to optimize processes, enhance safety, and increase efficiency. In a previous role, I noticed that our documentation process for batch records was cumbersome and time-consuming, increasing the risk of errors. I propose implementing an electronic batch record system that would streamline the process, reduce paperwork, and improve data accuracy. I led a team to evaluate different systems, selected the best fit for our needs, and oversaw the implementation and training process. This resulted in a significant reduction in documentation time, improved data accuracy, and enhanced compliance with regulatory requirements.
Excellent. You've shown initiative, leadership, and your commitment to making things better.
Yeah.
You don't just identify problems, you solve them.
Now, what if the job description specifically mentions data analysis and process optimization? How can RoleCatcher's AI help me showcase those skills in my answer?
Well, the AI would analyze the description and suggest you use keywords that highlight your data analysis skills and your experience with optimization techniques. So if they mention Lean Six Sigma, for example, the AI might recommend you talk about your experience using that methodology.
So it's not enough to just identify areas for improvement. I need to show them I can do it in a systematic way, using data to back up my decisions.
Exactly.
All right, we've covered quite a few questions.
We have.
RoleCatcher's interview guide actually has 10 in total.
Yeah.
So we keep going, maybe break down the rest of them.
We should definitely do that. And we'll also look at how RoleCatcher can tailor your answers to make a strong impression.
And before we wrap up, let's take a closer look at RoleCatcher's career planning tools. Explore those career stage insights that you mentioned earlier.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. Before we jump into the rest of those interview questions, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
Your potential career path as a nitrator operator. You mentioned that RoleCatcher's career guide actually breaks down this typical career progression into 5 stages. I'm really curious to hear more about that, like how the role changes and what skills you need at each level.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see how it evolves as you get more experience. It's not just about, climbing a ladder.
Right.
It's about gaining knowledge, taking on more responsibility, and becoming a leader in the field. So they outline 5 stages: entry level, junior, senior, lead, and operations manager. Each one has its own, challenges and rewards.
Okay, let's start with entry level. What can someone who's just starting out expect?
Well, at the entry level, you're kind of like an apprentice,
Okay.
learning from those more experienced operator.
Huh?
So you'll be assisting with the operation of the equipment, monitoring those processes, doing those quality checks, keeping those records.
Uh-huh.
Safety is huge here.
Of course.
So lots of training and close supervision.
So building that solid foundation, proving yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And RoleCatcher has these example profiles for each stage. Like for entry level, they highlight someone who's eager to learn, detail-oriented, and really focused on safety. They've got those basic certifications and are ready to, be part of the team.
Okay, so let's say you've put in the time, you've mastered the basics, and you're ready for more.
Yeah.
What does the junior nitrator operator stage look like?
Well, now you're doing more hands-on operation of the equipment, performing those quality checks on your own.
Okay.
Maybe even troubleshooting some minor issues. You're collaborating more with the senior operators, maybe suggesting some process improvements, and really showing you can handle those daily demands more independently.
So moving from that purely assistive role to one where you're making decisions, taking ownership.
Exactly. And it's interesting, RoleCatcher's example for this stage, they really emphasize not just the technical skills, but also communication and problem solving.
Okay, so those soft skills start to come into play more.
Yeah, absolutely. So they describe someone who's proactive, a good communicator, can troubleshoot, and follows those safety protocols.
Okay.
They understand the process and want to contribute to the company's success.
All right, so you've climbed the ladder a bit further. You're a senior nitrator operator now. What are the new challenges at this level?
Leadership becomes a bigger focus here.
Yeah.
You might be leading a team of operators, making sure everyone's following safety rules, analyzing production data to optimize those processes,
Right.
and even training and mentoring those junior operators.
Passing on that knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. You're not just a skilled operator, you're a leader and a mentor.
Yeah.
And again, RoleCatcher's example for this stage, they highlight communication and leadership. They describe someone who's, a strong communicator, a safety champion, a skilled problem solver, and can lead a team.
Okay.
They've got that deep understanding of the process, can spot areas for improvement, and really want to develop the skills of those around them.
All right, you've conquered that senior level. You're going for lead nitrator operator now. What does that entail?
Now you're overseeing the whole operation.
Wow.
Making sure production is smooth, efficient, and safe. You're coordinating with maintenance, collaborating with engineers to implement those process improvements, doing safety audits, even managing the inventory to keep things running. It's a big jump in responsibility.
It sounds incredibly demanding, but also really rewarding.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher's example here, they emphasize strong leadership, strategic thinking, and a results-oriented approach.
Okay.
They describe someone who can handle complex operations, optimize performance, and get the team to reach those goals, all while maintaining those high standards.
Okay, we've reached the top.
Well, yeah,
Nitrator operations, man.
the pinnacle.
This is it, the peak of the career path, right?
Absolutely. Now, you're not just focused on the day-to-day anymore. You're overseeing every part of the process, from production to safety, quality control, even budget management. You're developing those strategic plans, working with other departments to drive improvements, and ultimately, you're responsible for the whole nitration operation.
It's a huge shift in focus from those earlier stages.
It is, and RoleCatcher's example reflects that. They describe a strategic thinker, a dynamic leader, a champion for safety and quality. They have a proven track record, can manage those budgets, and are always looking for ways to innovate and push the boundaries.
It's amazing to see how this role grows from that entry-level, learning the ropes position, to a leadership role shaping the future of the operation.
Yeah, it's really remarkable, and RoleCatcher lays it out so clearly. You know where you are, where you can go, and the skills you need to get there.
It's like having a career roadmap.
It is.
Okay, let's shift gears back to those interview questions.
Right.
We still have a few more to cover.
We left off on that question about staying up to date with new technologies and best practices. So now let's look at one that's about working under pressure. Can you describe a situation where you had to make a difficult decision in a time-sensitive environment?
Oh, that's a good one because it gets at something really important in this field, making those tough calls when safety is at stake.
Absolutely. They want to see how you handle pressure, how you assess risks, and how you make decisions that put safety first.
Okay, so how do you answer this in a way that really shows you can handle those high-pressure moments?
The STAR method's helpful here again.
Okay,
Describe a situation where you had to make a tough decision fast.
right.
Outline the risks, what you considered,
Mm-hmm.
explain how you gathered information and assessed things. Then describe the decision and why you made it, and highlight the good outcome.
For example, you could say, during a routine production run, I noticed an unusual pressure reading in one of the reactors. It was a subtle deviation, but it was outside the acceptable range, and I knew it could potentially indicate a problem. I immediately halted the process and consulted the operating manual, but the troubleshooting guide didn't provide a clear solution. I knew I needed to make a decision quickly, but I also wanted to avoid any unnecessary risks. I gathered additional data from the monitoring system, contacted the senior operator for guidance, and carefully considered the potential consequences of different courses of action. Based on the information I had gathered and the advice from the senior operator, I decided to slowly depressurize the reactor while carefully monitoring the system for any signs of instability. Thankfully, the pressure stabilized, and we were able to safely resume production. I documented the incident thoroughly, and later we conducted a root cause analysis to identify any potential process improvements to prevent similar situations in the future.
That's perfect. You stayed calm, gathered info, analyzed risks, and made a smart judgment. You even showed that commitment to improvement with the root cause analysis.
Now, let's say the job description really stresses following those standard operating procedures, even in emergencies. How could RoleCatcher's AI help me tweak my answer to show I follow those protocols?
RoleCatcher might suggest mentioning the specific SOPs you followed, showing how they guided your decision.
Yeah.
So you could say, following our SOP for unusual pressure readings, I stopped the process and checked the troubleshooting guide.
So I'm showing them I follow the rules, even under pressure.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to a question about communication. Specifically, explaining complex things to people who aren't technical. Can you describe a time when you had to explain a technical concept to someone with limited technical knowledge?
Good communication is key in any job, but especially here where safety depends on everyone understanding those processes.
Yeah.
They want to see if you can break things down and make them clear for everyone.
Okay, so how do I approach this question to really show off those communication skills?
Well, think of a time you had to explain something about the nitrator process to someone who wasn't an expert.
Okay.
Maybe a new colleague, someone from another department, even a friend who was curious. Describe the situation, the challenge, how you explained it, and the outcome.
For example, I can say, in my previous role, we were implementing a new automated control system for the nitrator process. I was tasked with training operators who were accustomed to the older manual system. I knew I had to explain the new system in a way that was clear, concise, and easy to understand without overwhelming them with technical details. I developed a training program that included hands-on demonstrations, simplified diagrams, and step-by-step instructions. I also used analogies to relate the technical concepts to things they were familiar with, like comparing the new control system to the cruise control system in a car. The training was successful, and the operators quickly adapted to the new system.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
You adjusted your style to your audience, used those analogies and visuals, really effective.
Now, what if the job description really emphasizes written communication, like documenting procedures or writing reports? How could RoleCatcher's AI help me highlight those skills in my answer?
RoleCatcher might suggest you talk about your experience writing technical documents like standard operating procedures, manuals, or incident reports.
Okay.
You could say, I also created a training manual for the new system, making sure everything was clearly documented.
So I'm showing them I can communicate effectively in writing, too.
Exactly. It's important for those processes and safety.
All right, let's tackle a question about working independently and taking initiative. Can you describe a time when you went above and beyond the call of duty?
This is about your work ethic, your dedication.
Right.
They want to see you're not just punching a clock, but really care about your work.
So how do I show them I'm that kind of employee?
Think of a time when you did more than what was expected. Maybe you took on extra tasks, volunteered for something challenging, came up with a creative solution, or even just helped a colleague out.
Right.
Describe the situation, what you did, and the good outcome.
For example, I could say, in my previous role, we were facing a tight deadline to complete a major production run. We were short-staffed, and it looked like we might not be able to meet the deadline. I volunteered to work overtime, coming in early and staying late to help ensure we met our commitments to the customer. I also took the initiative to cross-train on other tasks, allowing me to fill in where needed. We ended up completing the production run on time and without sacrificing quality. It was a team effort, but I was proud to have played a role in our success.
You showed you're a team player, you're flexible, and you're committed to getting the job done right.
Yeah.
Really good example.
Now, if the job description specifically mentions taking initiative and being a self-starter, how could RoleCatcher's AI help me really drive those points home?
RoleCatcher might suggest you highlight that you volunteered for the task,
Right.
showing you're proactive, and that you cross-train, showing you're a learner.
Okay, we have just one more question to cover before we wrap up. Are you ready to tackle it?
Bring it on.
Okay, here it is. Do you have any questions for me?
This might seem like a simple one, but it's actually one of the most important questions in the whole interview.
Really? Why?
It's your chance to show you're truly interested in the role in the company.
Okay.
You can show your research, ask smart questions, and get information to help you decide if it's the right fit.
So it's not just about asking questions to fill the silence. It's about showing I'm curious and engaged.
Exactly. And it's also a chance to clear up any concerns you might have, maybe clarify something about the role, or even just connect with the interviewer on a personal level.
Okay, so what are some good questions to ask?
The most important thing is to do your research. Look at their website, read about the industry, maybe even check their social media.
Okay.
Then think about what you really want to know about the job, the company, the team.
For example, I could ask about the company's plans for growth, their commitment to safety, or even the opportunities for training and development.
Those are great. You could also ask about the team dynamics, the management style, or even the challenges facing the industry as a whole.
So there are plenty of good questions to ask. The key is to make sure they're relevant and show I've been thinking about this opportunity.
Exactly. Asking good questions shows you're serious and engaged, which can make a big difference.
All right, we've covered a lot today, from the career path of a Nitrator operator to those tough interview questions. But before we finish, let's circle back to those AI-powered tools that RoleCatcher offers.
Yes, let's do that.
How can they help me take my interview prep to the next level?
Let's dive into that world of RoleCatcher's AI and see how it can be your secret weapon.
I'm ready.
Welcome back. So we've talked about the career path, gone through those tough interview questions, but now let's really see how RoleCatcher can help you with its AI tools.
Yeah, how can AI actually help me land this job?
Imagine a coach, right, who analyzes the job description, sees exactly what they're looking for, and then helps you tailor your answers to match.
Okay.
That's what RoleCatcher does.
That's pretty amazing. How does that work?
So let's say you've written your answer to that safety question we talked about earlier. You put it to RoleCatcher,
Okay.
and the AI analyzes it, comparing it to the job description.
So it's not just about giving any good answer, it's about the right answer for that specific job.
Exactly. It'll point out anything that could be better, more relevant.
Okay.
Maybe suggest keywords, quantifiable results, even adjusting your tone to fit their culture.
It's like you get to peek inside the hiring manager's head.
Exactly. And it's not just written answers. It can even give feedback on video practice.
Wow.
You record yourself answering questions, and the AI looks at your delivery, body language, everything.
Okay.
It'll give you feedback on your pacing, your tone, your eye contact, all those little things that matter.
So it's like a virtual mock interview with an expert coach.
Exactly. Helping you project confidence and passion.
Okay, so RoleCatcher helps me with my answers and how I present myself. But what about those other resources you mentioned, like the career guides and skill guides? How can those help me, after the interview?
Those are packed with information to help you not just get the job, but also do well and move up. The career guides really break down specific roles,
Okay.
responsibilities, skills, career paths, even salary expectations. And the skill guides go deep on specific competencies.
So like if I need to learn more about chemical processing equipment or safety protocols or even, leadership skills, RoleCatcher has resources for that.
They've got you covered. A ton of resources from technical stuff to soft skills, all to help you become a better professional. And remember, learning never stops. This industry is always changing, so keep learning, keep refining those skills.
It's like having a library just for professional development.
It is. And RoleCatcher even uses AI to help you figure out what skills you need to work on. It suggests personalized learning paths based on where you are now and where you want to go.
Wow, RoleCatcher seems like the total package for anyone who wants to work in this industry.
It really is. It covers everything from planning your career to prepping for interviews to continually learning, all with that AI.
It's like having a personal career coach and a team of experts all in one.
Exactly. And they have a free version so you can try it out and see how it can help you.
This deep dive into the world of nitrator operators has been incredibly insightful. We've explored the role, gone through those tough interview questions, and seen how RoleCatcher can help you navigate the whole process, from job search to building a successful career. Any last thoughts before we wrap up?
Remember, this career, it takes technical skills, a strong commitment to safety, and a real passion for learning.
Absolutely.
It's a big responsibility, but also very rewarding, knowing you're part of something important.
From construction and mining to space exploration, even national defense, nitrator operators have a hand in so many things that affect our lives.
So, if you're looking for a career that combines precision, responsibility, and the chance to make a real impact, definitely explore the world of nitrator operators. And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way.
That wraps up our deep dive into nitrator operator interview prep. We hope you found it helpful and maybe even spark your interest in this exciting field.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep those reactions safe and under control.